Hello, this is Professor Griffin. I've got a story to share with you if you've got the time to listen to it. This story is called Uncle Wiggily and the Sleds. It's a very old story, and I bet you've never heard this story before. But you listen closely, and I don't think you'll forget it. One day, when Uncle Wiggily, the nice old rabbit gentleman, was out taking a walk, he came to the house where Jackie and Petey Bow Wow, the puppy dog boys, lived. "I think I will go in and see Petey and Jackie," said Uncle Wiggily to himself. "I have not called on them in some time, and the little rest will do me good after my walk." Into the doggy's house went the rabbit gentleman, but when he got there, he saw a strange sight, for off in one corner sat Petey, and oh, what a scowly-owly look was on Petey's face. And in another corner was Jackie Bow Wow, and on his face was an even worse scowly-owly look. "Why, whatever is the matter?" asked Uncle Wiggily in surprise. "Have you boys the toothache?" "No, they have not," said Mrs. Bow Wow, coming in from the kitchen where she was baking some dog biscuits and puppy cakes. "No, Uncle Wiggily, I'm sorry to say that Jackie and Petey are rather naughty." "Naughty, you amaze me!" exclaimed the rabbit gentleman. "Why, what has happened?" "It's all on account of the weather," went on Mrs. Bow Wow. "As for Jackie and Petey, they didn't seem to speak to Uncle Wiggily, and they were so fond of him, but it was just because they were cross and unpleasant, that's all. They weren't their real selves, you see." "On account of the weather, eh?" went on Uncle Wiggily. "Why, I don't see anything the matter with it. The sun is shining, there's no snow, and—" "That's just our trouble," burst out Jackie. "There's no snow, and want to go coasting with our sleds, and we can't go." "It's just mean, that's what it is," said Petey very crossly. "Hoity-toity!" cried Uncle Wiggily. "So you boys think the weatherman has made all this trouble? Why can't you do something else besides sliding down the hill?" "We don't want to," said Petey. "We want to play with our sleds, but we can't slide down on the bare ground, can we, Uncle Wiggily?" "No, I suppose not," said the rabbit gentleman slowly. "But how would you like to come for a ride in my automobile? That can go whether there's any snow on the ground or not. Come along, we may have an adventure." "No," said Petey. "No," said Jackie, and they both looked very cross and unpleasant. I guess they were unhappy and maybe a bit sorry. Sometimes, you see, when you get in the way of being naughty, it's hard to get back into the way of being good again. I don't mean you exactly, but perhaps you've seen someone who was that way, like Petey and Jackie. Well," said Uncle Wiggily. He did not know just what to make of this, for they were never acted so before. When the old gentleman went into the room, there came a twinkle into his red eyes, and even his nose blinked and twinkled, and he said, "Well, boys, if I could fix it so you could slide downhill with your sleds, even if there's no snow on the ground, would you like that?" "Yes, we would," said Jackie, and he smiled the least little bit, but not much. "Only it can't be done," said Petey. "Well," said Uncle Wiggily slowly, "I'm not saying that it is an easy thing to make a sled that will go downhill on the bare ground, but I can try it." "Just see how your nice, kind Uncle Wiggily is to you," said Mrs. Bow Wow. "Aren't you sorry you were naughty?" "Yes, I guess so," spoke Jackie. "But I'd like to see that new sled first." "Well, I'll go out in your barn and make it," said the rabbit gentleman. "Where are your sleds?" "Here!" cried Jackie and Peter eagerly as they brought them to Uncle Wiggily. "Well, now you stay here until you hear me whistle," spoke the rabbit gentleman. "And by that time the sleds will be ready for you, and you can ride downhill even if there is no snow." Uncle Wiggily went into the barn, And what do you think he did? Why, he took some wheels off the old baby dog carriages he found there. He fastened 4 wheels to Petey's sled and 4 wheels to Jackie's. And when you sat on the sleds, you could roll down a hill as nicely as in an automobile. You could easily pretend it was winter and there was snow on the ground, for there were the sleds, the runners, and everything. Uncle Wiggily whistled, and out came running Jackie and Petey Bow Wow. They saw the wagon sleds Uncle Wiggily had made for them, and they said, "Oh, thank you very much." And I guess they were sorry for having been cross just because there was no snow. "Now for a good coast," said Petey. "Hooray," said Jackie. Not far away was a little hill, and soon the 2 puppy dogs were riding down this on their wagon sleds that had baby dog carriage wheels nailed to them. Oh, what fun they had. Then along came Sammy Littletail, the rabbit boy, and Jimmy Wibblewobble, the duck boy, and many other animal children, and they saw the wagon sleds Uncle Wiggily had made, and they all said, "Ooh," just like that. Petey and Jackie let their friends take turns on the new wagon sleds that were good even if there was no snow. All the boy animals said they were going to make some sleds of their own next day, and I guess they did. And if the pen wiper doesn't go out on the front stoop and pretend that it's a doormat to fool the letterman, I'll tell you about Uncle Wiggily and the peppermint. Uncle Wiggily and the sleds. Sometimes sleds can whiz and go when there isn't any snow. Put 2 wheels on either side, and you still can have a slide. That is what these doggies do. Perhaps you can try it too. This book was printed a long, long time ago, 1939. Do you know anybody who remembers 1939? Or anybody who remembers Uncle Wiggily books? I don't know. I remember me, and I used to read them, but it wasn't in 1939. And look at this. In this picture, I just noticed, you know what? That looks an awful lot like the hill that the puppy dogs went down in their new sleds. What do you think?